Everyone, remain calm.
Yeah, that's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
Somebody talk to me! What is happening?
Welcome to Jurassic World.
You're listening to the Jurassic Park Podcast.
You want to consult here or in my bungalow? Hold on to your butt.
Well, we're back.
Hello, and welcome to the 11th episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Jost, and we're here to discuss all things Jurassic Park. In this episode, I invited Matt Parody back to discuss potential sequel ideas, and we pleaded the creators to accept some of our absurd notions. I'm going to skip over the news this week because Matt and I had a lengthy chat, so sit back and enjoy our Jurassic World sequel discussion.
The greatest superheroes in the universe come to Mohegan Sun August 14th through the 16th. See actors from The Flash, Goonies, Batman, Heroes, and more. Dress like a superhero or a villain. Nearly 300 vendors with comics, toys, t-shirts, artwork, and cosplay items. See the 66 Batmobile, Doctor Who's TARDIS, and more. It's New England's best Comic-Con at Mohegan Sun August 14th through 16th. Get tickets at the Mohegan Sun box office or online at Ticketmaster.com. Click ctcomiccon.com for more information.
Take a listen to Out of Touch Podcast. I recently joined host Jack Fitzsimmons to discuss the Jurassic films, starting up the podcast, our different fandoms, and much more.
You're listening to Out of Touch. I am your host, Jack Fitzsimmons. Welcome to episode 17. My guest this week is Brad Jost of the Jurassic Park Podcast. And I find that I enjoy, more often than not, I enjoy the kind of unofficial fan-run shows. But it took me a good probably 3 years to get through that kitchen scene. Before being able to watch the
uncovered
whole movie
your eyes
without leaving the room or
Yeah, it's just something you can't get anywhere else. So that's why I turned to those few podcasts there.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is my all-time favorite movie. What was the which T-Rex was better, the stomp and the roar, or the one that from the second movie that could swallow people? Can't escape that Spielberginess, man.
Please go download the podcast and leave Jack a great review. You can find the episode on iTunes, Libsyn, Twitter, and more by searching for Out of Touch Podcast. Let's open up the doors to the Visitor Center, where Matt Parody and I will discuss our thoughts on the sequel to Jurassic World. So a few weeks ago, we received word that the sequel to Jurassic World is coming, and I wanted to bring in fellow podcaster Matt Parody to discuss some ideas and thoughts about where the sequel may go. So, Matt, how are you after the catastrophic events of Jurassic World?
I'm holding it together. I still check under my bed every night before I go to bed, but besides that, I'm okay.
Yeah, you never know what's out there. You know, the park's certainly wide open right now and things can get out, so you gotta check that bed every once in a while.
Yeah, and the tub, I just recently was able to use it again. It was a tough couple weeks, bathing in the sink. I don't really fit in there anymore, but we got through it. So
yeah, it's safer times now. So
marriage still intact after weeks of bathing in the sink, so we're
that's
okay.
A good thing. So when the movie ended, Owen and Claire, they seem to be safe, and we know now that they're going to be in the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
To what extent, I don't know. I would assume Chris Pratt has a huge part, like the last time. And, I mean, it's kind of up in the air for Claire. I don't know how much role she'll have in it. We'll see. And also, it seems like Dr. Henry Wu has been taken care of, and we don't know what that means, whether that's a serious comment or a sarcastic comment by the guy from InGen. And right now, the website actually says that the park's experiencing some dino-sized technical issues, and everything is under control. But we know that might not be true because, the T-Rex and Blue, both those girls are just out roaming around the park. So we don't know, how many other dinosaurs are out roaming around. So I'm not really sure what the state of the park is. And one of the main points of the sequel that everybody wants to know is it going to reopen? What do you think?
I don't think they're going to reopen the park. In fact, I don't even think it's going to be called Jurassic World. I think they're going to change the title to fit the movie. But I don't think the park is going to be open. And I kind of wonder if they're going to do what they did the first time they did a sequel, which is go to Isla Nublar instead.
Sorna,
yeah. I'm sorry, Sorna instead of Isla Nublar, because that would be wild. If they just were like, oh, let's go to Site B. Why? I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe
we'll
that's
think
where
of something.
Henry Wu is. Maybe that's where they carted him off to, and he opened up a lab there. And
we have no idea what's happening there.
Exactly. They set him up, and now they call in Claire and Owen to as quote unquote experts, and they lead a team of whatever to stop the the guy with the god complex.
Yeah, that's a good point you brought up. I don't know what's happening on that other island. It wasn't mentioned at all, really. I don't think it was at all. So yeah, you're right. There could be another facility over there, and that may be where they carted him off to, because we don't know. We just knew that he's going to be taken care of. Mm-hmm. So whether that means they're just going to drop him out of the helicopter or actually just drop him nicely on the other island, we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think taken care of was just an ambiguous way to say that they evac'd him, because they definitely... I don't think they're done with him.
No.
They have his experiments, but they're definitely not done with him, because he's not done with his experiments.
No,
so
he's the whole guy
got plenty
behind
of crazy left.
Yeah, he's the evil genius behind the pretty much all the outbreaks and everything bad that's happened in the park. So he better come back. I know they haven't announced it yet, but hopefully we get him in the sequel here.
Yeah. I mean, what else is he doing? SVU? He can do that.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't pay attention to his acting career. I don't watch those other shows that he's on, so who knows? He needs it.
Yeah, exactly. He needs the money.
Yeah. And one of the things you just brought up was Claire and Owen. Mm-hmm. So we need to find something for them to do, and whether that's taking out Wu and his facility or training more raptors or whatever, we need to find something for them to do. And I mean, Claire, let's think of her for a second, because she basically ran Jurassic World. And I mean, if the park is still intact for some strange reason that people forgot, and or somehow they covered it up, paid off all the people that were visiting the park, which I doubt, she could still have a role with Mizrahi Global or InGen or something along those lines.
Right. So if the park somehow isn't closed, then I can see them bringing her in again in that in that capacity. Whereas if the park is closed or they're in a different location, whether it be on the mainland or something, then I can see her being brought in with Owen as their love blossoms into whatever it's going to become.
Oh, great.
Right? Yeah. I mean, we escaped this movie without a love story, but the next one, I don't think we're going to be that lucky.
Yeah, we just got small glimpse of it this time around, but yeah. It's really been like the only first love story in these movies, which is kind of we don't need it. It's fine, keep it out.
It's always kind of like under the rug.
Yeah.
In the first movie, it was the Grant and Ellie. In the second movie, it was Malcolm and Sarah.
Yep.
And then in the third movie, it was the divorcees.
Yeah. It's always there. It's just it's not like it's not a main plot point, and I don't feel like they make a big deal of it. So
it's not an Indominus Rex. You don't need to really stare at it. It's just one of the ankylosauruses that you see, and you go, "Oh, there it is."
Yeah, but Claire could have a role still, but I don't see how big it could be. If she's brought back, I feel like it's more of a bit part, or maybe like Ellie's role in Jurassic Park 3. You really didn't get a lot of her and she was just there to help out along the side.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if the park gets reopened, she'd be the one to do it.
Yeah.
I could see her easily going back into robot mode. That girl was a machine when she was behind the helm.
Yeah, she really was, and I'm sure she does a great job of running the park and everything. I don't know if it's not really her fault that everything went to hell in the last movie, but she could definitely have a big role if the park is open, or if they're opening, another park like you said. But if that's not the case, I'm not sure how big it's going to be. But Owen, on the other hand, I think he's going to have a pretty big role.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would agree with that 100%. Because he's got that extensive raptor experience. He's got this surviving the collapse of the park experience. He's got the Navy experience. He's got the Guardians of the Galaxy experience. He's ready for anything at this point.
Yeah, he's been to space. He's got all the training he needs.
He can sing Jackson 5. He's good. He's ready to go.
Yeah, I don't know if this whole Jurassic World thing really rattled him too much, because of his Navy training and everything else. I think he's pretty grounded, and unlike the Grants and the Malcolms and all the other characters, I don't think he'd be opposed to trying to head back in and to take care of things and fix things.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a Mr. Fix-It type of guy. Mm-hmm. I could definitely see him heading a team, moving back in, or saving someone. Because they had those tours back in Jurassic Park 3. They were taking tours of the island from the from the power sails. So maybe
there's a whole side business going on where these tours, we don't know anything about them aside from that they're terrible at steering boats. So.
Yeah. Oh, rocks. And we're dead from dinosaurs.
So I think Chris Pratt will be back in a huge way, and he'll also I assume he's going to get back on the island to try and maybe track down Blue, or maybe corral some other raptors. I don't know if there are any others. We only saw those 4. There might be others. Who knows? But I definitely think he's going to head back to get Blue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the site has, because I know the site has all the paddocks on it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there was a raptor paddock listed. I'm pretty sure there isn't.
Yeah,
If that's the case, I would say that the only raptors were his.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know if
his location was kind of inaccessible, just like the Indominus's location. So
yeah, one of the things that could happen is there could be raptors still in the old section, the restricted area, because we all know that there was a ton of eggs, in the first movie, just scattered about. So there could be still a group, unless unless they really washed the place clean before they set it up. I don't know.
I mean, they got the old Rex back, so
yeah, they might have corralled everybody back in their cages, or but I don't know what the lifespan is.
That one could be in there.
Which one?
The baby one that was born in Hammett's hands.
Yeah, we never saw that one again.
Oh my god.
Maybe they'll do like the Lucas cut, and they'll go back, reissue, special edition Jurassic Park, and they'll put a little blue stripe on that raptor.
You know what? I think I want to get a hold of someone who's good at photoshopping and do that myself and start my own meme.
That would be some serious world building. Definitely get somebody that can put that together. That would be awesome.
Oh my god, something no one ever saw before. It's been digital remastered.
Then you're going to have to buy the DVDs all over again. So,
mm-hmm.
All right, so if they do, open up the park again, which it seems highly unlikely, but if they do, let's say, for instance, everybody forgot or whatever, like I said before, they open the park, they need to do some serious construction to get this thing back in order. They need to corral all the other dinosaurs that got loose, get everybody back in their place. But one of the things they need to do is certainly step up the security.
Yeah. Those ACU teams were not nearly as effective as they thought they were going to be. Not to mention they did not make the best choices in the situation. Like, once that thing was out, half the team should have had Killing Force.
Yeah,
they should not have had as many deterrents as they did. It should have been half the team with tasers, half the team with everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if shooting a net at a dinosaur that big is going to do it, any good.
Yeah,
So-
no, I don't think that would have stopped her, not at all.
No, and yeah, you're right. They should have at least, maybe had their real guns holstered around their back or something like that. So next step is to definitely get a better security team.
Yeah.
And something that can maybe react faster because, by the time they actually got that gun hooked up on the chopper, they could have gotten that thing taken care of miles and miles and miles away from the guests. They would have had no clue. I mean, I'm not sure how the sound travels in a Costa Rican island, but I think they could have taken care of it much more quietly and kept the park intact. But they definitely need a better security force next time around.
Definitely agreed. Like half those things could have been stopped if they had just had a tiny bit of forethought.
Mm-hmm. And definitely don't have any type of flying dinosaurs next time.
Yeah, I guess those were problematic. I mean, they were only problematic because the aviary got broken into, but...
Yeah, but think about it. If that aviary wasn't there, nothing would have happened. Like, they probably could have, hopefully, gotten the Indominus, taken her out. They had the gun on her right there, but they had to stop because she crashed into the building. So... maybe the whole movie would have turned out differently if there wasn't an aviary there. So next time around, maybe don't have an aviary.
Maybe they'll learn this time.
Yeah.
And Jen's like, we're listening to these podcasts, and we've heard a lot of people aren't into aviaries anymore. Oh, noted.
I mean, it's probably a beautiful creature, to see it flying around, but we don't need it. Because they're going to escape. They've escaped. They were wild in the second movie. They were wild in the third movie. After they got out of that aviary, because just aviaries in general. Come on, it's not good.
No.
And one of the things, actually, I don't know the whole backstory, but there is a section on one of the websites that they have that details the story of. The ones that got away at the end of Jurassic Park 3. I think there's a whole story of how they attacked, a small town, and they had, some security force out there to take them out. I'm not sure. People are probably going to correct me on the internet, but there is that. So there is already stories of dinosaurs getting, across the water into mainland, and that's one of the things we got to watch out for in another movie.
I would definitely like to read this story about the pterosaurs escaping after Jurassic Park 3 because I would like to know what they did. Because, you had the compies in Jurassic Park 2 attacking the little girl. Mm-hmm. Although she was on the island.
Yeah,
so
they were on the side, but yet again, that island is just wide open, and who knows what could get off.
Supposedly it's protected by the Costa Rican government, but we all see how that works out in Jurassic Park 3 when those idiots...
Yeah, there should be...
got eaten on the boat.
Yeah, there should be a plane circling the island at all times, radar of all sorts, stopping incoming planes, not just some guy on a walkie that tells them, don't get any closer to the island.
That Spinosaurus is going to swim out and get you again.
I would be open to seeing that Spinosaurus again. I think that would be interesting.
I definitely miss him. I was expecting to see more than just bones in this movie of the Spinosaurus, but they didn't want to. I think that would have been overcrowded with Spinosaurus and the old Rex and the Indominus and the Mosasaur. Like
too many big ones.
Too many huge dinosaurs.
You gotta hold off for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So I did read something about the Spinosaurus on Reddit, I believe. People were wondering if that was actually one of their first experimentations, because, now we know that it could have walked on all fours, based on fossils and everything that we found. And just the temperament of that thing was out of control. I honestly think that if you pitted the Spinosaurus versus the Indominus, I think the Spinosaurus would just dominate. Like, I think that thing was totally out of control, way more violent and dangerous than the Indominus. So I wonder if that was maybe one of the first experiments gone wrong.
Yeah, I think the Spinosaurus's problem was, as they described in Jurassic Park 3, was just that it was the dominant predator on that island. So, like the kid said, I got this T-Rex pee, and it scares everything away, but it calls one really big one.
Yeah.
It's like dogs. They always got to mark their territory, and the Spinosaurus, because it is an aquatic creature, has an even bigger range where it's land and sea. So it's got its head and everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why if it went against the Indominus, I feel like if there was a water feature, the Spinosaurus would definitely win.
Mm-hmm.
But if there was no water feature, I feel like it would be a good slugfest.
Yeah, it definitely would be. And since that thing's perfectly fine in water, who knows? It could pull a Godzilla and just cut across the ocean.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's basically what they alluded to at the beginning, that the Spinosaurus is the thing that killed the drivers of the boat.
Is that because I've never understood what happened.
Because you got to think, there's nothing else. Like the pterosaurs weren't escaped yet.
No. Well,
so it couldn't have been them.
They could have been, because they were out at the very end of the Lost World.
Yeah, they were just shown, but I'm pretty sure they went, whoops.
Yeah. Forget about that.
Yeah. But I think it was because you would have seen like the pterosaurs flying out of the clouds.
Yeah.
Whereas the Spinosaurus could just grab, and as he's grabbing, the blood would go everywhere like they showed in the boat.
Yeah.
So that's what I think it was. So that's probably what the Mosasaur is doing now with Jurassic World.
Yeah, I don't know if there was an easy enough channel for that thing to get out, but,
when something gets hungry enough, it makes its own way out. Life finds a way.
I may have to, shimmy across this land a little bit, but I'm going to get out.
Yeah. Life finds a way.
Yep, I think I've heard that before, yeah. So one of the things that we keep hearing about these interviews with Colin Trevorrow, which actually took place before the movie came out. So all these rumors that you keep hearing are actually old news. One of them states that there's a chance there could be open source dinos. There could be multiple companies working on different dinosaurs and, creating their own hybrids or creating, just their own kinds for their own parks or whatever. Do you see that as a possibility for the sequel?
Actually, that's a very interesting idea, because right now, in terms of genetics and stuff, like Korea either rivals or exceeds us, just because it's like the Wild West over there and they can do whatever they want, like exceeds us and that kind of stuff. So I could see that happening, and then Owen and Claire being pulled in to stop that.
Yeah.
Like, say they clear off an island in the Japanese archipelago and put a Jurassic Park over there, and kind of like how the Chinese built a Paris, just because they felt like it.
Yeah.
Like, I could see something like that happening, where they built a park over there and it's like, oh, we also made similar mistakes. Can someone come over here and fix this before our Godzilla gets out?
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I mean, get Owen and get Claire and create a task force that can go out. That's way better than the ACU on the other island.
Yes.
And just take out these other companies, because they're basically, I'm sure the government of some sort would create a treaty, to stop the cloning of dinosaurs and do all this stuff. So we'd have to get that team out there to take out all the other companies or, black market people that are just taking dinosaurs and making whatever they want.
And I also think that if that were to happen, then maybe they'd also get the whole like pet dinosaurs thing involved too. Because I feel like that's definitely going to be in the next movie.
Yeah, you think they're going to have their own little purple dinosaurs next to them?
There's going to be something. Because that guy was way too hard up on getting dinosaurs as the military's pets. So yeah. I feel like that's definitely going to be in there somewhere. Whether it's there, experimenting with it over there, and that's what goes crazy or whatnot. But that's definitely going to be in there.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's probably going to be the main focus is militarized dinosaurs. And whether we actually see them in a battle, I don't know. But I definitely think we're going to see those militarized dinosaurs. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Yeah. I think we should definitely put a copyright at the end of this episode. Because if any of these ideas happen...
You heard it here first.
I want to see some money coming my way, coming your way.
Exactly.
We can be brought on as like producers.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll forward the podcast to Colin and let him know we have some good ideas. If you need some help, we'll be here.
Yeah, I'll put it on a disc, and I'll actually bring it on down to Spielberg's house down the road.
Oh yeah.
I'll just drop it in his mailbox and say. Just in case you guys were thinking about stuff and you couldn't nail down an idea, I got two geniuses who are ready to get working.
Oh, we could only hope.
God, I'd faint and then die.
So we could have some militarized dinos. Jurassic World did it, but they kept it simple. They only put the camera on the side of their heads. But maybe we could see them somehow controlled like a drone. Maybe there could be some sort of steering function. I don't know. Maybe weapons attached to them. I don't know. I hope not. But there's so many different applications. If they're open source, anybody can do whatever they want with them.
Exactly. And what I'm thinking is more of a domestication by like someone in the U.S. military, like some sort of program where they've been breeding them for a couple years and they've worked out how to do it. So it's not just like Owen just like screwing around with 4 raptors.
Yeah. That was maybe their main training facility. They're starting the program. But who knows? Yeah, they could have had other facilities working on creating those dinosaurs, and Dr. Wu could have maybe been traveling back and forth, or he could have just been, spreading his wealth of knowledge to, other scientists out there. So who knows?
Yeah, there could be like a Reddit for dinosaur makers, and they're just sharing information back and forth.
And I don't know. I heard this rumor too that maybe, like we talked about before, maybe dinosaurs could just be roaming everywhere. Maybe the movie skips a few years and things got out of control. Maybe we skip that whole period where the open source is happening. Maybe we just skip that and head to dinosaurs kind of just took over everything.
So we skip to Jurassic Apocalypse?
Exactly. That's kind of where I was going.
I'm totally cool with that. Civilizations collapse, dinosaurs, everything sucks. I got a gun. It's got 2 bullets. Let me go get some baby food for my baby. I love it. I'll watch it.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's no longer Jurassic Park. It's basically a different franchise. Yeah. It's like The Walking Dead meets dinosaurs.
Right, exactly. They could still call it Jurassic World though, because the world, literally, the world would be Jurassic. And that would be cool.
I think the apocalypse route could be kind of interesting. I've seen a bunch of images around, and it's just of the islands. We've seen it slightly in the movies with Sorna. That was basically an apocalypse zone. There was ivy and everything growing up in the buildings, and there was vending machines that you could just kick open. Nobody cared. None of the phones worked. So
yep.
And then we saw it again on Nublar there with the old park. So I could see that just happening everywhere.
Yeah, it's like they've been practicing all along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like the look of Isla Sonar. It's just all the dilapidated buildings and stuff, and the fact that the dinosaurs took over so willingly, and the raptors breeding in the compounds. It's just very cool.
Yeah, that would get a little out of hand. If you imagine just instead of deer and whatever other wild animals we have around the country, just bears, whatever. Imagine that, but we have raptors and T-Rex and any other kind of dinosaur you can imagine, just roaming around freely, and somehow the world has to deal with that. I can't see it going too well, and I definitely feel like it would be an apocalypse theme. Things would be just destroyed, and there would be a select grouping of people still alive.
Yeah, I just don't know what the time frame on that would be, and the fact that we know that Owen and Claire are in the next movie, I feel like we can't play with more than 10 years and have them not be excessively make-upped or CGI'd.
Yeah.
And I feel like
those guys haven't aged at all.
Right. They're not going to waste the money or the time CGIing those people when they need to make these flesh and blood dinosaurs. So I feel like that's not feasible for this movie.
Yeah, and I wonder, what the time frame is. So, say for instance, these open source companies are just, breeding their own dinosaurs. It could happen kind of quick,
Yeah.
So, maybe not 10 years, maybe 3 years. And I could see that, they don't have to age too much in 3 years, so.
No, definitely not. It could be real time, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta wait that long. Oh, that's super sad. I think one of the articles that the director mentioned, he actually mentioned using it for health benefits or something like that. And since they are open source, maybe they found a cure for cancer or for AIDS or something like that. Maybe something that we're using these dinosaurs for good, but I don't know. I feel like that would go too much in the direction of the new Planet of the Apes series.
Yeah, that would be very similar to the Planet of the Apes thing. The American Cancer Association has a T-Rex in their facility because T-Rexes are immune to HIV. I don't know about that. That'd be wild.
Yeah.
It's like, why is the American Cancer Society ordering 2,000 goats a month? I don't know. I just signed the paperwork, man.
Yeah, you really forget about the expenditure for goats. You think about, I got to buy this T-Rex, but what's it eating?
Goats, dogs, people, patients.
Yeah, I feel like this scenario is too played out. We got it in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and we have it in I Am Legend from a few years ago with the apocalypse and everything. So I feel like it's very played out. And who knows with The Walking Dead? We don't really exactly know what happened there, and we might find out soon with Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh, that hasn't come out yet?
No, it's I think the end of August, so
okay,
got some time. So who knows? I just really think it's played out, so I don't know if they'll go that route.
Yeah, I can't see them going that route. It's either military or park again. It's the only two venues that I see that are open. And if anyone listening to this would like to take me on as some sort of expert or PA, I'd love to help anyone out with this movie.
How good are you at getting coffee?
Oh, I am great at getting coffee. I do it all day at work for myself, so I can imagine that getting other people coffee I'm even better at.
Yeah. You can put a smile on your face and get anybody coffee. Here you go, Chris.
Yep. There you go. Oh, did you want 2 sugars? That's why I have more in my pocket.
You threw it in your face.
Oh, it's so hot. I'm so happy to be here. I just crumpled into a heap and cried the rest of the day.
Hey, but you're on the set of Jurassic World 2, so that's
right.
all that matters.
That's right.
One thing I was wondering, actually, is how Dr. Wu and Hoskins and whoever at InGen seem to have this whole play in order. And we saw Hoskins definitely got his arm chopped off. I don't know how much more happened. Do you think he's actually dead?
I definitely think he's dead.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just because he got his arm bitten off, and then we had the blood splatter against the wall. And I feel like if they brought him... That would be like if Nedry was in Jurassic World. It's like, oh, you just saw the Dilophosaurus wrestling with him in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was fine. He was a wrestler in high school.
He's good.
Yeah. He was actually a wrestler in high school. He was fine.
He's still blind, though. I mean...
Yeah.
You can't get rid of that.
He actually lost an eye, literally.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's that kind of stuff where you have to just assume that meant death.
I definitely assume he's dead. I just think, are they going to try and shock us? Since those two were working so closely together, it seemed. Is he just going to have some sort of prosthetic arm or missing an arm, have something wrong, have a scar, something on his face? Because that raptor, if you think about it for a second, I forget which one it was. It blue? No, I don't think it was blue.
I don't think that was Echo.
Yeah, I forgot. It attacked him, and the other group ran out of the room and literally just got a few steps down the hallway, and that thing broke out and went through the glass and started chasing them. So really, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure the raptor could have killed him in a matter of 2 seconds, but maybe there's a slight hope he's still alive. I don't know. I'm not gonna go too far with that. I just something to put out there.
I mean, I don't think he's alive, but he could be. He's definitely, he's not confirmed dead.
Yeah,
as a sniper would say.
And another set of characters we don't know too much about anymore, and especially after possibly 3 years, would be Blue and the T-Rex. I mean, they're out in the wild now. Do you think we see them again?
I mean, I feel like, especially after this movie, that apparently the American populace can't not have a T-Rex winning things. It's like the American dinosaur, apparently.
Yeah.
Even though we have plenty of American dinosaurs that are equally as cool. But definitely the T-Rex will be featured in some way, I imagine. Probably the same T-Rex, because we'll just decide that dinosaurs can live forever until they decide to die.
Yeah.
But Blue, on the other hand, if she's the only raptor left, I don't know how that's going to work out. Although, if there were eggs and yada yada yada, and she makes a new pack, then I could see her making a comeback too, especially because Chris Pratt's in it, and that would be an interesting, like, Christian the Lion dynamic, where it's like, oh, this raptor I used to love, I wonder if she remembers me. Nope, she doesn't.
Yeah, that could play out one of those videos you see where he just goes back and he spots her out in the wild, and then they go and hug each other. I don't know. Could that happen?
I love you. Yeah, he'll just start playing the music from Barney and just hope for the best.
Oh, God. But honestly, I do think Blue's going to come back. I think, here's my scenario, that whatever they need to do, they need to create that task force that we'd mentioned before. And say, for instance, InGen created a new batch of raptors, and they want Chris Pratt to go and train them and to lead a group to go take out whatever they need to take out. He's going to want a leader, or his beta, so he goes and gets Blue. And maybe there's some turmoil in that group, since these new raptors haven't been with him since birth, and they don't have him as an alpha, and they're not used to Blue. I could see some crazy scenarios there where, sort of like Jurassic World, where the raptors just, turn around and just act crazy and, start to take on the other side of the bad guys. I could see that happening. So I definitely think we'll see Blue again.
Or maybe Owen will be taken on to lead a pack of iRaptors, tiny versions of the Indominus.
Yeah.
And he will be leading a team to do XYZ.
Yeah.
And he'll just call one Blue.
You're Blue 2. I'm going to call you that.
Exactly, yeah, Blue 2. Maybe it will be Blue. I mean, if they're making the whole dinosaur from scratch, they make whatever freaking color they want to.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen dinosaurs return. Obviously, we got the T-Rex. And I think, like, the love for Blue is so insane. In the last episode, I had our raptor poll of, like, which design did you like best? And Blue got so much love. If there wasn't a specific design that people loved, they just said, oh, but, I mean, I definitely loved Blue. I love this other design, but Blue, come on.
Yeah. The males from 3 were awesome, but
Blue
was definitely cool.
Yeah, so I can't see them just saying, no, we're not going to bring her back. I definitely think they'll include her somehow.
I feel like they could totally flip the script and bring in Billy from Jurassic Park 3 as the counter to Owen. because Billy tried to do some sneaky raptor. And if whatever company or part of InGen, contacted him, I was like, hey, we got some raptors. You want to come over here? And he'd be like, yeah.
I can just hear that phone call now. They're like, InGen's calling, and they're like, hello, we hear you're on the forefront of 3D printing, and you're an expert when it comes to raptor calls. So we need you to help co-lead a group of raptors here. I could definitely see that happening. I'm
in the plane. I'm running to the airport right now. So why didn't you take your car? That's exactly right. I'm going to run back and get my car, and I'll get there faster.
That's a really good point. Before we get to the other characters, I want to bring up one other point. Again, from Reddit, it's a great source of information for what everybody's assuming and what people are thinking. This user here, Sassy Blue Whale. Now, maybe they're a fan of whales and just the attitude of Sassy, and also the Velociraptor Blue. Who knows?
Hey, it's a trifecta.
Yeah. So this user, pondered the outcome of the T-Rex's fate and whether or not we'd see what happens to her. And I don't know about you. I don't know if you feel like we need to have some sort of closure, because at this point that T-Rex would probably be 30 years old or so, if she had a little bit of lifespan before the first movie and obviously all the time in between. Do you think we're going to see some closure? Do you think she'll die, or do you think her something bad will happen to her, from another dinosaur? What do you think's going to happen with her?
Based on the sentimentality of America with T-Rexes, I feel like she's going to be mentioned in some way, shape, or form. I hope it's not the same dinosaur, although, seeing as how they're dinosaurs, we have no idea their lifespan. And we don't know what these modified dinosaurs' lifespans are.
Yeah.
Obviously she can live 20 some odd years. We get that. But maybe they're like crocodiles and they never really die. They just keep living and keep existing until they get killed.
Yeah, it's possible.
I mean, their teeth regrow, so she's not going to die of starvation like mammoths would. So honestly, it's basically up to whoever's writing this movie. Do they want to bring it back for a third time?
Mm-hmm. So I think if they do show her again, I think they need to kind of, end her story. And I think they need to do it in a good way. And one way that the fans will be satisfied, maybe she's just, I don't know, I know we don't know exactly the ages, but maybe she does die of old age. And, I feel like there has to be some sort of closure to that character, because she's a character just as much as any of the others.
I feel like she got more closure than I thought she was going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like bringing her back in the first place was a little... I didn't believe it was the same T-Rex until I saw it on the internet.
Yeah.
I thought... I don't know. Apparently my eyes are drunk because I thought they were totally different colors. But apparently not.
No, I kind of agree there.
Right?
Yeah.
They were totally different colors.
I mean, I can sort of say, while she's been out on this island for over 20 years now, maybe she's just been in the sun too long. She's faded. She's old. Yeah. I mean, so I could see that.
And she was being lit by a red flare for the opening of her sequence.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I'm really remembering is that red flare light, and I'm like, she's really red.
Yeah, but, I mean, I thought more so at the end when you see her fully out in the daylight. She looked very pale.
Red. Yeah, it's red.
Yeah, and it's an odd color, and I mean, I know her as being brownish green. Not really green, but just brown. So, Who knows? Maybe she just really didn't age too well. Her skin looks tighter and different, and she's got claw marks down her back now. Mm-hmm. So, who knows? Maybe she just shifted her color a little bit.
And she's just going to be living scar tissue if they bring her back again, because she got wrecked
Yeah.
in that fight. She got wrecked.
Yeah.
The fact that they even made her walk around at the end, I was like, okay, good. Apparently she's going to eat everything because she's going to be hungry.
Yeah,
Good
no,
thing
little did you know that roar at the end of the movie was her last roar, and she just dropped dead. That's why it cut to black. They didn't want you to see that part.
Yeah, that's the sad thing they didn't want you to see.
Yeah. So, since we're on the topic of old characters, do you think we're going to get any cameos, or you mentioned Billy before. Do you think we're going to get anybody from any of the other three films, the first three?
I feel like a lot of those actors are in their golden years now, and the script and or the paycheck would need to be the right flavor for them to go for it. The exact thing they're looking for. Yeah. I can't see Sam Neill doing it again.
No. He's too busy running his wineries out, wherever he is.
Exactly. I feel like Goldblum's off the deep end.
Hey, but he's coming back for Independence Day, so
oh God,
can't roll him out.
Oh, that's what? That's 100% right. But he's already had 2 movies. Sam Neill's already had 2 movies. Laura Dern's already had 2 movies. I feel like Billy's our only shot.
Billy would be a great addition. I really think he would.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know what the hell that guy's doing, but
no, I have no clue.
Billy would be a fun person to bring back. Maybe it'd be like the Billy Owen tag team, and they're both running the Raptor military unit.
Mm-hmm.
You got Billy, who's like telling Owen, be like, oh no, when she makes this noise, it's more like a blah blah blah.
Yeah, he could become a specialist in the Raptor calls. He's had firsthand experience before many others. So maybe he got obsessed. He took those eggs and he just couldn't let it go.
I mean, I do like that idea. I'm a big fan of it. Yeah. And director of Jurassic World 2, if you're hearing this right now and you like this idea, I'm more than happy to help write this for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I would be there right with you.
And then Billy comes in.
And we also have Timmy.
Oh, God, I want Tim back so bad.
Right?
I want Tim back as like an Indiana Jones Jurassic Park style. That's what I want Tim back as.
I could see it.
Yeah, that would be awesome. With like a whip and a trank gun and a hat.
That would be
just
pretty
as badass
epic.
as he was in the Pacific.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I got to go back and watch that now.
Yep, he's in it.
Well, I mean, if they do get a new park up and running, or they have a team of mercenaries out, they're going to need somebody back at the base. So they're going to need somebody who's good with computers.
We're bringing in Lex.
I think so.
What's funny is that they were primary players in the comic book that they revitalized a couple years ago.
Oh yeah,
where it was Lex was running the organization, and Tim was actually trying to rein her in because she was getting crazy with her ideas because she was a vegetarian and she had all these it was a weird. It was a weird thing they had going on, but
I don't know anything about this.
I was reading a couple issues.
Really?
Look it up on Amazon. Jurassic Park
definitely will now.
Yeah, it was a weird couple issues, but weird couple issues I read. I mean, it went on longer than that, but
really,
yeah, they were just they were Image or IDW comics, so they were harder to find. But
yeah,
so I mean, if they brought both of them back, that'd be fun too.
Yeah, and aside from them, they'll need somebody to document this experience. So they're going to need somebody who's good with the camera.
Oh, God, Vince Vaughn.
Come on, I mean, he's not in as good of shape as he was back then, but he could still be out there with Greenpeace. Maybe he just settled too much.
Right, exactly. This whole movie will just be the stars from all these previous movies. There actually won't be any dinosaurs in the movie at all. It'll just be all these stars, and then everyone will be watching going, I'm so starstruck, I didn't even notice there wasn't dinosaurs. They kept talking about dinosaurs, though.
Yeah, I mean, think of it, like, the Fast and Furious is doing it right now, They've done it for the past few years, where they made separate movies, and now they've combined everybody.
They put a boatload of people in that last movie.
Yeah. So, who knows? Maybe, that movie also Universal.
Maybe
and it's made a ton of money.
Of Fast 7.
Whoa.
Will be directing Jurassic World 2, and he will definitely do that.
Yeah, it's possible. I think actually, whether it's the director of the new one or the one before or the ones before, I think he's doing True Detective, and he's working closely with Vince Vaughn. So here we go, Nick Van Owen.
Yep. He's falling in love with Vince Vaughn again, so he's going to bring in Nick Van Owen.
Yep. And then it's going to be super confusing because we're going to have two Owens.
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
And then he's going to bring in Vin Diesel to voice the sentient dinosaur that they create accidentally. Sentient dinosaur's only going to be able to say things like, "We are killers."
Well, I don't know if you're that far off base, because if you know anything about some of the original Jurassic 4 scripts,
they had.
And I'm sure you've seen those images.
Dinosaurs,
yeah. So those are some pretty horrible, images that I don't ever want to see again, because they're already burned in my memory of these humanoid dinosaurs. Mm-hmm. I got to look back at that image, see if it says anything about Vin Diesel on there, but.
And voiced by VD. Well, we gotta assume that's Vin Diesel.
If they were okay with it before, they got as far as doing a script and and creating artwork and stuff. So, it could be possible.
Mm-hmm. It definitely would be very funny. It's funny because I was actually watching a video today of Death Battle, I think they were called, where it was Yoshi versus Riptor from Killer Instinct, and Riptor apparently is a genetically modified Velociraptor human hybrid.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, huh.
Yeah,
and that's really old. Killer Instinct is really old game.
Yeah, really. But if you want to go the newer game route, we have Far Cry. I don't know if you played that, and that's those games are very different. But at least one of the ones I played had the whole there was like a serum, and the guy transformed a little bit, and he was like a super soldier. So we could go that route. Maybe they get a little scales on him. I don't know.
Dino super soldiers.
I'm afraid. I really don't want to see that. Maybe that's how Chris Pratt comes back. He took the Captain America route. Got injected by all kinds of dino DNA.
If you've seen Parks and Rec, you already know he took the Captain America route. Do you know how they quantified that on Parks and Rec?
No, how was that? I forget.
Well, he got ripped to be Quill for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So when he started showing, apparently they just turned to him and go, "Andy, you look really good. What have you been doing?" He's like, "Well, I stopped drinking beer." They're like, "You drank a lot of beer." He's like, "Yeah, apparently."
I do. I remember that now. God, that show is brilliant. I miss it.
I just want to watch the last season or whatever with him jacked and still being ridiculous.
Well, I think didn't they have him still in somewhat baggy clothes, so it wasn't too apparent, but it was definitely noticeable.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll get some Parks and Rec cameos. Maybe there's going to be a Leslie Knope in the sequel. They're going to need somebody to run the park.
They should have had Amy Poehler instead of Jimmy Fallon then, I guess, in this one.
Oh, man. You're so right. That would have been great.
Hi, I'm Leslie Knope from Pawnee. I've never been to Jurassic World, but I'm going to tell you some safety precautions.
Well, there's plenty of room for her in the sequel, since we know absolutely nothing about it, and we don't have any insider tips. So,
and it's years out.
Yeah, it's just a guessing game. I'm sure there'll be a lot of news coming up in the future here. But as far as we know now, we got 2 returning characters. We have no director announcement right now, and at least we know we got a lot of producers. That's it.
And we know Colin doesn't want to do it again, so
yeah, he'll be on board in some capacity, but who knows how big. But I think he's writing, so that's pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
And, as far as I know, I believe the script is in, and we just got to wait to hear some stuff. And there's really there's no cons coming up or anything like that, so we have to wait maybe until next July for Comic-Con. But Universal is not known to be, too big at the Comic-Cons there, so, maybe we just got to wait another year or so. Who knows?
Yeah, the waiting game.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 3 years out. We sitting here twiddling our thumbs, coming up with our own ideas, and then possibly being disappointed when Leslie Knope is not in the sequel.
There'll be more to cover.
Yeah, they're definitely. Whenever they get some solid information, I'm sure we'll have to come back and discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
So, thanks for joining me today. I had a great time, and I think we came up with some good ideas.
Thanks for having me. I had a great time as well.
And I know we brought it up last time, but where can everybody find you?
Well, you can find me on not Instagram. Wow. You can find me on Twitter at Matt Parody, MattParody, and you can find me on the RPG Academy, which is a gaming podcast also featured on iTunes and on Twitter. And you can find me on Facebook searching the same thing. I don't hide on the internet, people. Just type in Matt Parody and you're going to find me.
Oh yeah, first search result. There it is.
Yep.
I had a good time. Let's do it again sometime soon.
All right. Definitely.
Thanks for listening to the 11th episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. I want to thank Matt for joining me to discuss potential sequel ideas. Make sure to find him on Twitter, at Matt Parody. We are basically all over the internet now. Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and Flickr. You can also listen to us via iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Podomatic, and YouTube. You may also find us commenting on the Jurassic Park subreddit as Jurassic Park Podcast. You can do us a huge favor by giving us a 5-star review on iTunes. It will seriously help us build our rankings and make it easier for fans like you to find us. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can tweet us. Of course, it's at Jurassic Park Pod. Or you can email us with any news stories, MP3s, segment ideas, pictures, top 10s, or comments to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening and enjoy.
Drop what you're doing and leave now.
The only thing you did was stop drinking beer?
Yeah, I lost 50 pounds in 1 month.
How much beer were you drinking?
I know, right? Probably too much.